can you just introduce yourself, your name, your age, and your profession?
Aaron Rutledge, 48 years old, Kailua High School graduate, 1988. Actually, class reunion tonight, our 38th reunion tonight. I'm the owner and operator of Star Beach Boys, Inc. We run a surfboard concession business in Waikiki. We also operate the Alawai driving range. And I have another company called Modern Macaroni Company. It's the Hula brand noodles, the dry noodles and potato starch and all that kind of stuff we have. And I also work at Hawaiian Airlines, part-time, on-call part-time, nighttime customer service.
Oh, busy.
Yeah, a couple nights a week over there.
So just to start off with this story, I want to focus more like on the culture side of it, especially with like the Aloha Poke, like how they got, that controversy. So I guess can you just start off with like explaining the history and the culture of like what the Beach Boys means to the culture of Hawaii?
Okay, so in my opinion and my experience, I've been on the beach since I graduated high school, so it's been 30 years. That's the only real job I've ever had. And to me, the history and the tradition of the Beach Boys is something that it's not a job where you apply for it. It's something you just show up on the beach and you hang around, and you got the uncles, the older guys that's there, and then you want to use surfboards, but you don't have money to pay for the surfboards, so they let you use the boards, but in return, you got to help. You got to help people in and out of the water. We call it a board boy. So you basically you're a board boy. You don't get paid. Your pay is using the surfboards whenever you want to go to surf. After school or on the weekends. You clean the beach. You get a net and the rake. You clean the beach. You throw rubbish away. You help with umbrellas. You help with chairs. And then after a long while, if you still show up and you still show an interest, then you get offered to go get your license, your surfing license and your canoe license. And then once you get that, now you just become a licensed Beach Boy. And the history is something that happened. I think the Beach Boys started in 1901, 1902, something like that. And it's something it's been carried on by decade after decade after decade. And the way you learn it is from the people in front of you. And in the past probably 15 years or so, a lot of surfing schools have popped up. 15 years there was no surfing school. If you wanted to do a surfing lesson, you go to Waikiki Beach. That's the only place you could do it. Now there's surfing schools all over the place where they teach around the island. And people always ask me about surf instructors and Beach Boys. I said, well, there's a big difference, because a surf instructor teaches people how to surf, and that's all they do, and they do it every other beach except Waikiki. And a Beach Boy is someone who has a surfing license and a canoe license, and they only work in Waikiki. They don't do lessons anywhere else. So that's the difference of a Beach Boy and a surf instructor. As far as tradition, what's happening now, you got this company in there now that's not a Beach Boy company, and they've offered jobs to the current Beach Boys, but they got their pay is it's all commission based. It's like 10% commission, where historically they got 60%. So it's like they're cutting the pay way down, and they're charging more money to the tourists. And they want you to dress a certain way. They want to make you on a scheduled shift. And the Beach Boy, like I said, it's not a job you apply for, and there's no shifts. If you want to work today, you show up to work. If you don't want to work, you don't come to work. And there's nothing that the concession should be able to do about it, because you're an independent contractor. So if it's a nice day and you want to make some money, you come down and surf. And if you made enough money, you might not show up the next day. But with this new company down there, they're trying to change that history of what a Beach Boy is, and they're just trying to make you a surf instructor, an employed surf instructor, where you have a shift to work, and during that shift, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, and when your shift is done, you got to leave. You're not allowed to stay at the beach. Well, how are you going to kick somebody off the beach who's been there all their life? You know what I mean? So that's where the history of what a Beach Boy is. They just show up when they want, they leave when they want. If somebody comes up to do a surfing lesson and they got no money, you take them and you teach them how to surf anyway. You know what I mean? Because most of the guys down there they're not there for the money. They're there because they want to be there. The difference between have to and want to. A lot of guys want to be there. They don't have to be there.
Right. So, what was your initial reaction after hearing about the city agreeing to give the contract to Daivoa?
Well, so it goes through a bidding process, and then you got to meet certain qualifications just to put in a bid. And historically, the way it's been, the city has always made a minimum requirement as you have to be a Beach Boy business, because the city, they understand that it's a cultural thing down there. It's not like a retail place where anybody like a Billabong or a Rip Curl could come down and bid for it, or the hotels.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be a Beach Boy business. The owner or the operator of the company has to be a licensed Beach Boy just to bid. So this time when they put it out to bid, they changed the specs a little bit, and they added ocean recreation business, which they've never done that before. But they still kept the qualification that the owner or the operator has to have a license, got to be a licensed Beach Boy. So by adding the ocean recreation, and that opens it up for catamaran operators, submarine, jet ski people, anybody that does fishing boats, they all could have bid, because you know, basically that's what ocean recreation is. But the scuba diving company put in the bid, but they didn't meet all of the qualifications because the owner operator does not have a surfing license. He submitted his scuba diving license, and you can't do scuba there. So we all thought at the beach that he was going to get disqualified because he doesn't meet the minimum qualifications, but the city qualified him to bid. And I know the city's trying to increase the bid amounts because it's a high bid, and the more people in there, the higher the bid goes up. And the city is all about money. You know, they've kind of steered away from the historical side of it and the traditional side of it. But anyway, so he bid. He was a high bidder. He outbid us by like 1%. And in the city's contract, it says that the city may choose the highest, most responsible bidder. So we feel that we were the highest. Well, it wasn't the highest, but we feel that we're the highest, most responsible because we're the only ones who had experience in the bidding process. But the city just put that to the side, and they just wanted the money. So they qualified him. He was a high bidder. And another thing that the city did for the first time in history, they allowed one concession to operate boat stands. Okay. It's never been that way. 5 years ago, we was a high bidder on boat stands, but we could only choose one. And that's the way it should be, because you want competition. Yeah. You don't want one guy having both concessions, because the people who suffer is the tourists, because they're going to set the prices so high, and the tourist doesn't have an option. You know, they have to pay it. And that's the first thing this guy did, is he set the prices, like he doubled or tripled the price from what we've been charging for the last 10, 15 years. And if you're a tourist and you can't do nothing about it. So everything that Daivoa who did, what they did it wrong. You know, instead of coming down after he won the bid back in March, he should have came down and talked to everybody, got some input of what to do, what not to do, try to put a team together that's going to help him. But he didn't do that. He had a staff meeting for anybody interested in joining him. So a bunch of guys went just to go hear what they had to say. And it was minimum wage. They talked about their commission is going to be 10%, where it's usually been 60%. They talked about shift times. You know, you're going to work this time. We're going to schedule you guys 3 days a week at 6-hour shifts. That's 18 hours a week. So nobody's going to qualify for medical. You know what I mean? So it's just, he turned everybody off. And that's what started this uproar with the Beach Boys against them.
With the community kind of sort of having your back with the couple of rallies you guys had, what does it mean to you knowing that through this fight, like, the community has your back? Yeah,
it's kind of weird because, you know, I've been down there for 30 years, and locals would come down, you know, a bunch of times, rent boards, and we always had good relationships with locals, but we never thought that the community actually cared, you know, this much about the beach, about the issues that we're having right now. And it's kind of become a global thing, because I get emails every day from people from New York and Australia, and it's like, well, we support you guys, and we're going to write letters to the city on your behalf, because the only reason we come to Hawaii, the main reason we come to Hawaii, is because we want to go, you know, hang on the beach with you guys. You know what I mean? We come here. People come a lot, but some people just come back to go surfing, and they come back to go on a canoe, because that's basically the only place in the world where you can catch waves with outrigger canoe is right there in Waikiki. Right. But yeah, it is kind of overwhelming that how much support we do have from the community, and it kind of just it's like a snowball effect that's going on. And it's just building every day. And we've been approached from various Hawaiian groups and activists that they want to do some more protests. They want to go to City Hall and protest. But I've been trying to hold them back because I think the city is going to do, they've realized that they made a mistake. The mayor was on the news a couple weeks ago and he admitted that they should not have given the contract to Daiva Oahu. So I think that they're going to try to do something where they take one stand away and give it to us because we're the next highest bidder. That'll satisfy at least the Beach Boys. It'll satisfy the tourists because now they can do canoe rides again because they're not doing it now. And that should put a lot of the community at ease if we're back down there again. It's like we've been displaced. It's what it's basically come down to. It's like the city said, we're going to put these guys in here, and if Beach Boys you want to work for them, you do. If you don't get out. You know what I mean? It's kind of feels like the monarchy back with Liliuokalani, where they just kicked her out one day and told her that was it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So just sort of an update. So there's the Star Beach Boys is still like up and running.
Yeah, yeah. We did find a location right across the street from the beach, like a 1 minute walk on Ko Avenue. So it's a small retail shop, but it allows us to continue to operate at a much smaller scale. But it keeps the guys working because a lot of them, what they wanted to do was just hang on the beach and do their surfing lessons, and we call it wildcatting, where they're just down there and they're collecting money on the beach and they're just doing what they do. But we don't want that to happen. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to collect money on the beach without a permit. So we found this location where they can hustle on the beach and they walk the people over to the store. We sign them up. People pay. We have insurance. We have a commercial use permit from the state to use the water. So it's still 100% legitimate. It's just that there's a little walk we have to do now.
Okay. Oh, I wanted to speak to you about the Aloha Poke issue and stuff. Oh, yeah. So that kind of ties into like the whole issue you were saying with like, going back to the monarchy when they just like, kick the queen out and they're kind of putting more so, I guess, like money over culture and history. Like, what was your thoughts when you heard about the controversy?
Yeah, no, I couldn't believe it that somebody that they could actually trademark a name like that. How do you trademark the word aloha when it's not yours to own? You know what I mean? And then how they sent all those cease and desist letters to everybody who had aloha and poke in their name. So that was a trip. I mean, I guess you can try to do anything, but the one who made the mistake would be the government that allowed that to happen. Because next thing you know, someone's going to try to trademark the word Hawaii, or they're going to try to trademark Kahanamoku or Kamehameha. What happens when those get trademarked?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they can trademark aloha, why can't they trademark those other words? There's certain things that it should not be able to be trademarked, or it shouldn't be able to be owned by an individual. Hawaii owns those words. You know what I mean? And that was there's got to be something got to be done about that.
Thank you so